In your opinion, could it be argued that, okay, fine, the Amber Heard legal team or even the jury might see it this way, that, okay, fine, Amber Heard was abusive, or there's a lot of evidence saying that Amber Heard was abusive, but we don't have enough evidence to demonstrate that Johnny Depp also wasn't occasionally abusive in terms of what happened. Because I think the misunderstanding that if somehow Amber Heard was abusive, that negates the possibility of Johnny Depp being abusive, which of course what I just said isn't necessarily true. So even though there's all this evidence and maybe swaying the jury that Amber Heard was abusive and maybe lying about things, might it still be legally valid to claim that she was not defaming Johnny Depp when she stated publicly that she had been abused? She just left out possibly her side of the abuse. Does that make sense?
Yeah, and it depends. It depends on really how the jury ends up picking this up, because if this were a normal DV case, there would be specific definitions for these various actions that came into play to say, is this domestic violence? Is this abuse? It would have a very specific definition that would be used. But because it's a defamation case, we're not using the same jury instructions that we would during a DV case. So it kind of is going to be up to interpretation by the jury, which is one of those like huge wild cards in this case. So absolutely, like they could say, well, technically, if he hit her once, or if his words were considered enough to be abusive words, then yeah, technically she didn't lie. On the other hand, the jury could also look at it and say, well, she maybe didn't outright lie, but she was very misleading in the way that she wrote it, by suggesting that she was like a 100% victim that was being, like dragged throughout her whole marriage. And, and this idea of sexual violence is in the title. So, if they think that didn't actually happen, then it's like, okay, there's enough here that was misleading enough that we should say that it's a lie. Because, in the law, there are different forms of lies, right? There's a lie by a statement that you make that is untrue, or you can lie by implication, by omitting certain facts that would help to, kind of round out the picture to make things look a little bit more accurate. So all of that comes into play into how the jury is going to be interpreting these various sort of components to this whole defamation claim. So, and that's one of the things that makes this very much a gray area for this particular case.
Interesting.
So
that makes a lot of sense.